What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unlocked. So I wanted to speak about speed and networking. So kind of following up on a trip that I just took, been talking about it. And one thing I realized that I am not sure why people don't implement. I think maybe it's awareness or maybe it is experience. It's one of those things that you cannot replace experience. That is what it is. You cannot replace experience. As much as I can help somebody in business, I cannot teach them. I can teach them. I can pretend to, give them all the experience I've had. And if they have a high level of trust, if they're very intelligent, they apply things quickly, they might get away with some of it. But really, you can't really replace experience. And I believe that's what it is. And let me kind of get to the point. I noticed that one thing I do better than with the person I was obviously trying to help somebody. They have maybe 3-4 years of experience less than me. And I realized, man, I do this so much better, and it does require absolutely, this is not a bragging point, it's something that I do better, but it requires absolutely zero amount of skill, maybe a little bit of time, but it's really the ability to have speed and urgency when networking. So I'll give you an example. I remember it just coming to my mind where I was visiting this office in Santa Fe Springs, in Alante's office in California, and he had his promotion visit down from Fresno visiting as well. So I was meeting a whole new office in Fresno. From Fresno, also in LA. And I was meeting a lot of people. These are people in our team, people that are going in the field, working hard. And I saw 3-4 people right away. Of course, they're coming up to me and whatever. I saw 3 or 4 people right away. And I wanted to network with them. I wanted to chat with them. I wanted to engage with them. I can't get to everybody. And I can't relate to everybody. Not everybody's matching or similar to my personality. And so I also realized these people were extremely sharp. And I want to make sure after I leave that I do something to where not only they can stay, but they can attack and, offensively move through the program, not just kind of stay. And I noticed that it hasn't been done. And there was no speed at networking. This is what I mean, really. It's speed at networking, speed at connecting them with others. And I had like a wave. I remember I was doing it for the whole 2 weeks I was there, but it was like we got into this room. I was networking with this lady. She was very sharp, very motivated to be in the business, very excited. The right person, when you hire somebody that has like the right attitude. So it was the right person. I'm listening to her. I'm asking a few brief questions. What's your name? Where are you from? How old are you? You look super young. This is great. How you doing with the business? How long you've been in the business? And after gathering a little bit of information, I realized, she was 19 years old, and her last job was bagging groceries. Immediately, as soon as she said that, I thought of another business partner, mentor of mine, Matt, who used to bag groceries and then, became a multimillionaire in our business. And I said, as soon as she said bagging groceries, I said, give me 2 seconds. I want you to network with Matt. And I called Matt on FaceTime. Matt was driving, and I would say, hey, Matt, I have so-and-so here. Are you able to spend a couple minutes with her talking on the phone? Matt said, absolutely. And so I gave this lady my phone, and she just went off to talk to Matt Kelly. And it was beautiful because Matt's been in the business for a long time. He knows, and he has the experience, and he did start. His previous job was bagging groceries, and he always shares the story. So I guess my skill comes from me knowing Matt's background. Maybe that's where you need some time in terms of learning, who to connect with who. And I realized this girl had been in the business for 2 weeks, and she had not networked with anybody with her exact background. And our business is so big now. There's 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000 people probably by the end of this year, to where there is somebody successful with your exact same background, probably from your same city, maybe from your same school. And we just have to connect people and let them grow, not do all the heavy lifting yourself when you're trying to build a team or grow a team. Is the ability, the skill to have speed at networking. That's what I think people are not doing. And I get surprised because I want to work hard. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to work hard if I can, use my surroundings, use my environment to get people growing instead of putting all the weight on me. I want to connect people. And I remember this girl just got off and started talking to Matt, and I said, hey, Matt, just so you know, She started, you know, her last job was bagging groceries, and of course, she's not really sure if she can be, you know, a huge success in this business. But hey, Matt, does that remind you of somebody? He's like, yeah, absolutely. Of course, that's my story. And they started talking, and they went off, and I was off the hook at the point. I never talked to that girl again, but I can tell you, she's probably excited, and she's probably connecting with Matt. And now Matt is probably a mentor to her because, of course, when there's common background, when there is common ground. Let me put it this way: there has to be common ground. There has to be low ground before there's high ground, right? Before we take off, we have to have common ground, and you know, of course, you're a lot easier to influence by somebody with your exact same background. Just like if I'm from Spain and I'm here in Texas and I find somebody from Spain, that person's opinion is gonna rub off a little differently in me. It's going to probably influence me in a different way. Just like if you are, let's say, on a cruise and you're in Alaska in a cruise and you're very far from home and you find somebody in that cruise from your high school, you probably do a double date that night. You probably, you know, hang out that day just because you're meeting far away and you're from the same spot. It creates influence, and that is the power of networking. And I think people don't use it enough. It's the easiest way to help others grow without doing all the work yourself. As soon as she was on the phone, I was like talking to this other person that was telling me, hey, I'm really shy. I am a little bit of introvert. I don't know if I'm into like the yelling and screaming like everybody is in here. And I was like, hey, I got you right there. And I connected her. I had to bring my laptop to do another video call because my phone was being used by this other person. And I connected this person with another lady that I know called Sarah that is introvert, but a fantastic leader, great success. And you know, she is a proof that being introvert does not mean not being like introvert or extrovert has nothing to do with leadership. It has to do with maybe, you know, who you prefer being in some part of your day, but it has nothing to do with being successful, being introvert or extrovert. So I had this person on the laptop, holding a laptop, walking around, FaceTiming or video chatting with Sarah. I was on WhatsApp because my FaceTime account was being used by my phone. This other person was talking about, and I realized, wow, I basically served nothing. I did nothing myself, which is not the point. Of course, I don't mind. I'd like to do stuff, but in this case, there was two people that were asking me for help, and that, you know, points for them for having. Sometimes the hardest thing is to reach out for help, which is, you know, some people think it's a weak thing, and it's the opposite. And I was able to connect them with people that were going to help them and advance their career faster than me, because I was not an introvert when I first started, and I also didn't bag groceries. So I could tell them stories about how they could be successful bagging groceries or being introvert, versus I can connect them with people that are in those successful roles that have those backgrounds. And that's a skill, and I don't see people do it. And I think a lot of my success attributes to I'm connecting, and again, don't take this the wrong way, I'm connecting the Hispanic guy with another Hispanic person. I'm connecting the Spanish guy with another Spanish person. I'm connecting the tall person with the tall person. And as dumb as that sounds, people influence each other a lot more when they share some sort of external common thing, physical appearance, same high school, same education, same city, a language they studied in high school, a job, people that bag groceries, people that were in warehouses. If you just find the common thing and you connect them, you can help people a lot more. Plus, you got to combine that with speed. I think my added value there was how quick I was at connecting those people, and how quick I was. I was not trying to be the man and be the person with the ego to connect them and to help them. You know, I didn't need to be the helper so that my face could be so that my name could be mentioned whenever those people, you know, moved into a better spot. I have nothing to do with that. I was just interested in the person growing, and I realized that was not going to be me, the person to help them grow, and I'm okay with that. As a matter of fact, I can reach more people because, again, the speed of networking and connecting others. So for anybody that's on this call, and maybe you want to grow your team bigger, or maybe you want to accelerate your path, or maybe you want to expand. Maybe you've hit a cap. Maybe you're listening to this. If you're the person that's listening to this and you're like, your team doesn't go past a certain point. Maybe it's 10 people, 12 people, 20 people, 30 people. And you keep hitting this ceiling. I promise you, there's a very high chance that you're kind of like you're putting yourself under the spotlight a lot more than you need to be, where you could use your references, and maybe all you need to do is sometimes, frankly, this is probably what people don't do, is actually be genuinely interested in human beings, sitting down with them and asking them about their background so that you know who to connect them to. And of course, if you don't do that, then you can't connect them with anybody, and therefore you would be speaking to them all day, which makes sense why you would be hitting a ceiling also. But if not, I would challenge you to think, who can I connect this person with? And also, how quickly? If you hire a person and on their first day, they can be on a FaceTime call with somebody that has your exact same background in our specific business, your chances of turning over that person will be a lot less. And your chances of that person being successful will be a lot more, plus the combined effect of you having to spend less time so you can also focus on growing the rest of the team. So speed at networking is key. It's a beautiful skill. It requires it does require very little effort outside of, again, speed and awareness. And hopefully you look at it like, I need to do this more. I can better connect people. I need to be paying more attention to other people, not just for me, but because of who I can connect them with in the future that's on my team. And fill up your Rolodex of information of people. Somebody played basketball. I didn't, but I'm going to write it down, or I'm going to, store that in my mental storage so that I can connect you with my next basketball player. And it's how businesses grow through people. And speed at networking, big skill, very underrated, very under practiced. Hopefully you look at it like something you can do. And we'll see you at the next one. Thanks.